everybody. Welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest is one of the living legends of the sport, a guy I've been privileged to know a very, very long time. He is the real deal, Chris Cormier. Welcome, Chris. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Good to be here.
So the main reason we're doing this is because you have a movie out, a documentary about you. It's called I Am the Real Deal. Yes. And first, let's clear something up. Everyone assumes every documentary is made by Generation Iron. This was not, right?
No, this is not. Gary Phillips from he's living in Australia. He contacted me about 3 years ago and thought I had a pretty good story that people might want to see, and he thought he wanted to help me document it and get together a lot of old videos and old memories and interview a lot of the champions, past and present. Yeah. And we came up with a very well done documentary.
So did he travel to the U.S. a bunch of times to do this?
Yes, he did that. Wow. There's been a lot of back and forth. I went to Australia a few times. Did a lot of recording. It's a lot of recording from Australia there. Some stuff in Europe, and obviously the Olympias and Arnold Classics with all the champions involved. I was really grateful for all the guys' input and their honesty and transparency.
Yeah, I mean, it was an all-star cast. We had Jay Cutler in there, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Sean Ray, Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler, Peter McGuff, Tony Doherty, and I think there are probably even a couple more people.
Yeah, Arnold was even in there, gave me a shout-out. And Lee Haney, Mike Christian, Sergio Olivier, Josh Nwarowitz. And there's, who else? Breon's in there. You said Kevin. Yeah. But Breon's in there also.
So were you happy with what everybody said about you, or were you just see some of the footage and saying, "Oh, that son of a bitch"?
Yeah, a couple times, or that wasn't right, or something. But yeah, I think for the most part, I just let them have a free will or whatever they wanted to say. I think that made it a little bit more raw and kind of cool, you know.
Yeah. So was it like I've only seen the trailers for it.
I got to get you. I'll get you a password.
Yeah, I'm old. Get me a VHS. You don't have a VHS tape?
Yeah, I know. I wish too. I'm old school too. Yeah, they come in DVD also. So some of those are getting out. Some people got them already. Some people are waiting still, but they're on the way.
So the first time you watched it, it's like Ronnie hasn't even watched his own movie. I don't know if he ever will. Was it hard? Was it hard for you to watch your own movie?
Yeah, it was a little hard. It took a lot out of me the first time, the second time, and the third. I saw it 3 times so far, and it's I got to set up a whole afternoon because it's a lot of emotion going on there, you know.
I mean, what are the toughest parts for you to watch without trying to like go like this and go ah?
Well, the stuff I'm in the hospital, lying there in bed and videotaping that part. Obviously I couldn't see how I was looking at the time. Yeah. But to see that and see me starting to take my first steps after being paralyzed, that was kind of hard. My mom passing, talking about that in depth, and then some of the stuff was almost like just some of the competitions. I could see how I was burning the candles at both ends. A lot of times, I was competing 10 and almost sometimes 13 times in 1 year back then, and just seeing myself going through, and then I'm going through a hard time, and then you see the roar from the crowd and the sounds, from the instruments people are using in the crowd sometimes.
The air horns.
Yeah. Air horns. Right after coming from a deep, dark area, and then back on the stage again. That type of stuff was pretty touching.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I was looking at just the some of the comments on your Instagram and stuff. You have several Instagrams. We'll get into that later. But the main one for the movie, guys, if you want to follow along with comments about the movie, that's at Chris Cormier Movie. That's the Instagram for it. The website is chriscormiermovie.com. But I saw you were in a coma for a month at one point. I never knew that.
Yeah, man.
When was that?
That was when it first happened. It must have been 06 or something like that. I was getting ready for the Olympia. I was just about to go and to move to to England to train for the Olympia with Dorian, and I was 295 pounds. I was had abs at the time. I was like 11 weeks out, I believe, and I was ready. I was like I was gonna shock everybody because uh, I like I said I push all my chips into the middle of the table, and I was just like, okay. So then, you know, being over there in Hackettstown, I was there with Bo Based and my one of my best friends, and he, I mean, he helped save my life basically.
Mm.
Uh, you know, Lenny Nunez he had played a big part there too because I couldn't do anything for myself. I couldn't even wipe myself at the time.
Mm.
It was just crazy. Uh, but I was in a induced coma basically for just over a month. But I thought it was like 3 days. I
Mm.
thought it was 3 days. I'm looking on the calendar because I had a thing about going to the hospital overnight and all that stuff, and it was like I looked on the calendar and said, "Man, I've been here 3 days," and everyone looked at me kind of crazy. They was like, "Chris, you've been here for over a month,"
Mm.
and I'm like, "I got to get out of here. I get ready for the Olympia." And it was like,
It
"We
wasn't
don't think
over
you're
yet.
doing
Did
it."
the Olympia already happen at that point or
No,
no?
it didn't happen yet.
Wow,
And
that would.
I missed the UFC. I missed everything. I was just like, "What?" I was like, "What happened?" I was like, "They were like, yeah, you can't even walk, Chris." I was like, "What? I can't walk?"
Wow.
I was
So,
like, it's just shocking to hear that you can't walk after you've been running around the world and on many stages and, you know, being through all the stuff I've been through so far, thus far. It's like, it's kind of hard to hear.
I mean, what happened to put you in that coma, or to make them put you in that coma?
Um, I had a staph infection. I was in Amsterdam for a number of months, maybe 4 or 5 months or so. I came back to America. I had some appearances to do, and I started sweating pretty bad at one of the appearances for Muscle Tech. And I said, "Man, let me call a doctor friend of mine. I think I have an infection." And, I remember my shoulder had like a little knot in it, but I was sweating. I was like, "Man," I said, "Okay, maybe it's coming from my shoulder." Took some pills, but it was the wrong antibiotics,
Mm.
the wrong ones. If it's not the right ones, it's not going to help you at all. It calmed it down a little bit, but it stayed in my system. So two
Mm.
months later, from this point, I'm like, okay, it's probably okay. I should have just went to the doctor, to the hospital, and probably would have changed everything in my life. That's the that's what one thing you can see in this movie, like little minute, uh,
Well, I mean, it
situations
was.
that you go, yeah, you could say yes or no at that time, and
Mm.
that's gonna take you on a whole nother path of life. So that would have changed the course of my career. Toward the end, I probably would have been still healthier and still probably managed to take on Mr. Olympia title.
Mm. Yeah,
So
because
it
you were
was something.
ready. You were going to stay in
So
the UK and just focus
yeah,
100% on the
focus.
Olympia.
Yeah, hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Wow.
So here's the thing, the the poison just got into my spine, which
Mm.
is the weakest part of my body, because that was just from over the years of making some mistakes here and there, injuries in my lower back. That's where the weakest part of my body. So that's where it collected and that's where your central nervous system is. So every nerve in your body is affected now from this poison. So it's in my system, and it's trying to kill me, trying to take me over. It's
Mm.
like my body was like just green,
Wow.
from head to toe. I was just green, and I was in so much pain. I was hallucinating. It was so much pain. I was talking to people who wasn't even there in the
Oh,
room,
wow.
and they had me on some heavy medications, but my tolerances was really very high at the time anyway. So I
Mm.
was still, I needed more and more. So I just go to bed screaming at night, and I was just like, they couldn't give me any more because it was going to stop my heart.
Wow.
So they had to put me in a coma.
So was that basically the end of your bodybuilding career, your competitive career?
I actually came back and did two more shows, but it
Mm.
was not the same bodies. Like when you rush out of a hospital bed, and that's the thing. I was trying to keep my contracts going, and it was tough because you land on your back in the hospital, and everybody trying to sign you up for a contract.
Mm.
And not only that, I was under doctor's care for 6 months.
Wow.
So coming straight out of that, like they wouldn't allow me to fly back to the West Coast because I was still under doctor's care.
Hmm.
And so at the time, it was I couldn't see family or some of my home friends or everything. It was just people that I knew from the sport that was
Wow.
helping me on the East Coast.
Hmm. So one thing I saw in the trailer, and a lot of people, Dorian referenced it, a few people referenced it, is people said if you hadn't been into the party scene, they think you could have been much, much better. They think you would have been Mr. Olympia. Um, and that's hard to disagree with, but I have to wonder, you looked so good. You had that combination of the size, the shape, the condition. What else would you have had that you didn't have? That's what I have
Uh,
to wonder.
it wasn't that. I think it was more so the focus. I had a kid right in the middle of my career, uh, and that brought out different situations I wasn't used to. When I wasn't, I was a single dad trying to become, still become this bodybuilder, the best in the world, and then it was just tough if you're not living with the mom at the time, and it's like it was just a lot of distractions. Some from people that was in and out of my life at the time. They were
Mhm.
just pulling me in different directions and stuff. So I don't think it was just a one thing. I think it's a slew of things. I think also I was competing a lot to say I'm going to nail some type of condition. If you're
Mhm.
doing 5 shows in 6 months, and then just like when Ronnie tried it and came down and did one classic, and
Yeah.
I took second to Ronnie, and then he tried to come do it at Olympia. He had a tough time coming in shape, and that was the last time he did anything like that. But I was doing it most of my career. I was doing it. I did 10 Olympias and 10 Arnold Classics,
Yeah.
and not to mention that the 5 Australian competitions, the San Francisco competitions, the Ironman competitions. I was doing all these multiple years. So I personally think that what took a lot of toll on me. If I was doing one show a year like some of these guys were doing just the Olympia, I think it'd been a different story. I think it was
Mm.
a totally different story.
Yeah,
I
but
wasn't I wasn't having any off season on top of that, enjoying life to the fullest. I'm
mm.
on bit, I'm on both coasts at particular times of the year, uh, mostly during my off season. But you know, it was tough, man. It was tough.
Yeah, but at the same time, I give you a lot of credit because there weren't many guys that really would do all those shows. It was like you, Milos. It was very few guys,
Right, very
but
few.
I think it commanded a lot of respect from your peers, from the fans, that you weren't just hiding out most of the year. You were doing all the shows.
Yeah, all the
You
shows.
didn't feel like
And
this show's I'm too good for this show or that show. You would do
right, I
plenty
would
of
do it.
shows.
Yeah, and also, you got a chance to meet face to face with a lot of different fans, and I think that's my biggest fan base is because I went around the world. I didn't stay in
I mean,
California or stay in America. I went all around
I
in
mean,
the
look
states.
how
Spent
popular
time.
you are in these countries thousands of miles away, all the way around the world. You're still relevant, you're still popular, where a lot of the guys you competed with, if I said their names, a lot of people watching this would be like, "Who's that? I never heard of him."
Right,
So,
right.
you really, I think you built yourself up as a brand, you built this fan base. It's never going to go away. You still have
Yeah,
a lot of loyal fans, and it's because you did go all around the world many, many times every year. So,
every year.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
for
but if you had an off season, I mean, you were competing around 250, 260, right?
right.
I mean, how much bigger do you think you should have been or could have been?
I think I probably would have been bigger. I probably, I think I could have, because here's the thing. Like I said, I was 295 in that show that I felt like, okay, this is the one. I was probably going to go down to at least 265, or be. I was like, if you got abs around 295, you definitely can take off 30 and be like in fantastic shape. Especially with my shape, I would have had like, I felt like the ultimate look that I was looking for.
Hmm. Okay.
But we didn't see it, and we're not going to see it. But the legend continues.
Um, Speaking of legends, there's so many stories about you, and some of them are true, some of them are completely made up. Did
Right?
you ever go out all night clubbing and then compete the next day and win? Did you ever do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well that one's true then.
I
Uh,
did. I had to. I was like I was overweight. I ate too much in between the previous show, and I think I ate a little bit too much. I was 275 or something like that, and I had to compete the next day, and I was like, fuck. I was like, I got to do something, you know. I got to keep moving. I got to do something. Like, so instead of just sitting in my hotel, just come in and super overweight, I ended up getting down to 260.
Wow.
And you know, when that was my heaviest condition in that show. But I got down to 260.
Wow.
So I had to do what I had to do at the time. I had to make a business decision.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't because you didn't. It wasn't because you lacked the discipline to stay home in the hotel and watch TV all night.
Yeah.
You had to drop weight.
I had to do what I had to do at that point.
You
But
know,
yeah, maybe that, and then it was maybe like one or two close, too close than what it should have been. But that's it. It wasn't like my whole career. It wasn't like all what I was about, this and that. It was just a couple different times. But it was in a small frame of time, because once everything started rolling hard, party wise, that was like a strong 2 year stint. But it was strong. I was like, I mean, one time I was in, you know, we've been partying for like 2 or 3 days or whatever, and I went to sleep. But when I woke up, I only had a certain amount of time to get to the airport. I had an appearance in Colorado. And I was like, damn, I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going on, right? So I woke up after like sleeping for like 2 days, and then I flew to Colorado. But then when I had fell asleep in Colorado, when I woke up, I had no idea where I was, or why I was there, or who I was supposed to contact, or what I was doing. So I had to call someone. I called my girlfriend at the time and said, hey, what? I was like, first thing out of my mouth is, where the fuck am I? What am I doing here? And who am I supposed to call? I didn't know. I didn't remember anything. So then when I got to the show, I kind of like, I guest posed, and you look pretty decent still. And I think I kind of said this story over the microphone. I think people were like wondering what the hell just happened. But yeah, it was like one of those want to get away times. But it was pretty wild, man. Because I seriously didn't know where I was. I don't know if everything ever happened to you, but like that. But I seriously needed some help telling me what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I mean, people think you partied your ass off and went clubbing for years and years and years, but it was really only what, 2 or 3 years where it was concentrated like that.
It was concentrated. But like I say, my coming from a small town of Palm Springs, and then venturing out to Venice, I didn't have the same people around me and stuff. I had my brothers, Flex and Rico, who, we did mostly everything together, even Paul Delat, and we had a couple other people that came in and out um, of our little circle. But once that kind of dissipated and we started going, like, Flex turned pro first. He moved into his house. He was doing his thing. I was still trying to get my pro card. I got mine the next year at the USA. And then it was Rico turn after that. And then Rico, ended up taking fifth in the nationals that year. But he can just kind of like stop competing after that. And we was, kind of, just starting to go in different directions with that small circle we had. And then a lot of new people started coming into my life, and it's kind of just took off in those different directions like that.
Yeah.
But keeping people around you that have the same goals you have, that's what I would recommend. They gotta have the same goal that you have, and if they have a little bit less than you, then they probably not pushing you towards the best ones you have. But I did have a lot of good people that I met over the years that I'm still friends with today. And yeah, some people are dead, some people are not, but some people are really good friends and good quality people.
Was there a point where you had to cut a bunch of people out of your life because they were all about partying?
Yeah, because I had like 30 people in my room before the show.
Damn.
I had and I had, just start getting down to 20 and 15 and 10. Then it was down to 2 towards the end type of thing. So, and I think Chad was surprised when it was like not that many people. Like he'd get there, he'd be like, "All right, everybody get the fuck out. Like we got to concentrate," like that type of thing. Like, Chad would come in there a few times for that. So he
I
was
could,
he was
I
like
could.
my he was funny though.
Well, Chad used to be a cop, so I could totally see him doing
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. He's like he busted up the party, man. Like the fuck,
Yeah.
they're my
Uh,
friends.
so at what point I saw in the trailer you talk about an addiction. When did you know that you had a real problem, and how did you get past that?
Well, it was a problem because you know just the need to do it again,
Hmm.
2 3 days in a row. It was like it became a real issue, especially when you're in a physique uh, type of career like I had. So that's gonna that's not gonna be a thing you want to do is breaking down your muscle like that. You know?
I mean,
Uh,
you actually talk in the documentary about what it was, right?
yeah, yeah,
It was cocaine,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right,
Yeah,
yeah,
which it's a
yeah.
catabolic,
But it was so
very
it's so
catabolic
hard.
drug.
Yeah, but it was pure, and you seeing like you step in a room with like 6 keys, and you can't even stay in that room long because it's so strong. It was that type.
Wow.
That'll get you. It's not like stepped on stuff or something like that. It was totally pure. So it kind of like uh, it was kind of hard to stop that.
Right.
But once I went to AA, and I mentioned in the documentary, uh,
Yeah.
it was just like almost like being baptized. It was like being around people who was like, okay, we've been there and we've seen it, but it's time to understand what it's doing to you and what the negatives parts. You've seen all the positives, but when you start experiencing the negatives and the depression and the stuff like that coming down,
Yeah.
start affecting different events you're supposed to go to, and it's like, you know, it was really difficult to manage
Mm.
all that type of stuff because I'm sure at the time people uh, may take you as whatever they're seeing from you that particular time and think that that's how you are, that's the person you are.
Yeah.
But in actuality, you've been driven by something that's way stronger than what the actual character of the person is.
Mm.
So it was, getting and then just kind of like saying, okay, admitting you have a problem.
Yeah.
That's when shit changes. That's when everything changes. And leaving there from that group, I was going multiple weeks. Um, NA and AA and stuff like that. And I think that's what helped me get out of it because I was like, it's almost like baptized you back into to reality.
Yeah. So did you never went to a formal rehab place?
No,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
no, but it didn't, never felt good after that. I tried it after that still, but it didn't feel good anymore. And it was like, it just totally like, I was able to get out of it. And then when this thing happened on my back,
Mm.
it shifted everything because we talked about New Bane in the movie and what that did to a lot of bodybuilders at that time. And I can mention other bodybuilders that I know of, but I guarantee you, I wasn't the only one.
I mean,
Uh,
at,
yeah.
at
So
one point, half the guys in Venice were
uh,
hooked on New Bane.
yeah, exactly. So the New Bane, that's what I, that's when the coma and the hospital, all that stuff, that took away all of that. So that was the end of that.
I'm going to throw something else in there because people talk about, well, he partied. He could have been better, but he was always partying and crack drugs and this and
That
that.
was so
But
not the only thing that was in my life.
I have to wonder, what if you had all that era? What if you had been married and been with the same woman who was very supportive and I don't want to say controlling because that's not cool either, but
Help you
somebody,
control your shit. Yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest
that
with
would
you.
have that would have been the deal. That would have been
If I wasn't married, I might be dead by now because
right,
I
right.
love
No,
I
I
love
know.
partying and I had someone to shut me down and say, no, oh no, you don't. You're not doing that, or I'm out of here. You know, you didn't have.
Exactly.
I
That
don't
would
think
have
you ever
helped.
had
That
anyone to tell you to keep you in line like that.
right. Having the right person in your life close to you like that would have helped because I didn't have that part,
Mm, okay.
and that's a very important part to someone's team is those people super close to you that can actually make a difference in you doing A or B or C.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I didn't have a stronghold there, and that's why I say I meet certain people throughout my life, and like, man, if I was in this situation, that would have been ideal, you know. But when you're deep into it, like I was, and it was like the people you're meeting was like you don't know why they're there, you don't know if they're there for a good reason or bad, but they're there, and that would have been definitely a major plus in my life to have someone like that, like what you're saying.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Also things that things that drove you to do what you did. I mean, there had to be a lot of frustrating moments in your career because you won a good amount of shows, but man, it was 6 years in a row, I believe, you were runner up at the Arnold Classic, right? I
Right.
mean, man, by number 4, you must have been like, oh my God. And by
Yeah,
5,
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
by number 6,
And
what was
then
going
and
through your mind?
six, I went, fuck this shit, man. I
Yeah.
was like so pissed because it's like I mean, I'm not a born loser. I'm not even gonna ever pretend to be like someone that's okay with losing. Uh, there were some shows, uh, you know, I could see everyone backstage. I'm like, okay, I got you. I got you. I could tell by your face. I got you. I
Yeah.
got different things I would look for. And some of those shows, I think,
There were a lot of shows you won, but there were a lot of shows like those 6 Arnold Classics.
yeah,
There was a lot of shows I was at where I thought you won. And then at the end of the night, you didn't win. I
right.
mean, after a while, that
That's
must have
that's
really
the
started
thing.
getting you.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Is like you could see there's a better physique on stage or not, but it's just such a subjective sport. I mean, you can't just slam dunk a basket and be like, get in the person's face. Ooh, I smoked you. It's not like that. So it was very, disappointing, disheartening. I mean, you put so much into trying to make this happen. You put extra focus into it. You put extra whatever. Like, okay, this gonna be the time. This is gonna be the show. And then like you say, and there was a lot of times when I could still go back now, or I could be like, see, I was the best one on the stage.
Mm,
Why didn't I win?
yeah.
So and you lot of hearsay about why I didn't win. They said it was like someone didn't like me, or someone had something against me, or whatever. Someone didn't like the way I lived. So I heard all kinds of stuff throughout the years. Jim Manning's always been very fair with me.
Right.
Great advice over the years.
Yeah, I mean,
Weinberger, all those guys
did
gave
you
me
read
shit.
Ronnie? Did you read Ronnie's book?
I didn't read Ronnie's book.
Because he's got a part in there where I'm surprised no one's made a big deal out of this. I wasn't going to, but he talks about he talks about a lot of bad calls where the judging was, shows were fixed, and I think it did happen a lot more back in those days, the '90s, maybe early 2000s. I think judging is a lot more fair now than it was back in the day. Let's put it that way.
Right, right,
You know,
right, right.
there were some
Yeah,
crazy bad calls back in the day, crazy bad calls.
yeah.
And I mean, let's say that you and another guy you both look awesome. And one guy, he's a judge. He doesn't get laid much, doesn't get hot chicks. And he says, that motherfucker there, I see him with a different hot bitch at every show. Second place. I mean, I could totally see that happening.
I could
That's all.
see that.
People are people.
People are
So,
people.
so yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, who knows? But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this year because this has been the craziest year I think our sport ever saw since I started following it long ago. We've never had a Mr. Olympia disqualified from competing in the Mr. Olympia contest. When that whole story broke, were you like freaking out? Like, is this real life? Is this really happening?
Uh, kind of. I had certain situations happen to me to where it was like I could tell that this is a real thing. It's just like it's no joke, and you kind of understand the mindset. Uh, you know that he might be going through, and then you can understand. Hey, how can you focus on your physique? And they were wondering, like, is it Mr. Olympia? Should he be Mr. Olympia because he looks so bad now, stuff like that. But I mean, when everything is out on the table, you can see, hey, how can you concentrate on your physique when so much thing is going on in your mind and your heart and whatever pushes you in the gym? It's probably gonna be really hard to concentrate at that
Shit.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's, I don't know who's innocent, who's guilty. I'm not, there's no way I'm going to speculate on any of that. But, when you're when you see a lot of different women over the course of years, the chances are one of them might want a lot more than just something casual. And
correct.
if you're not interested in providing that for her, or being her boyfriend or husband, or being some sort of relation, it's a lot of, there are false accusations made left and right.
For
You know,
sure.
there,
For sure.
I have a
And
wife
see,
and I have a daughter, but there are false rape accusations, and anybody who's a single man these days, they all have to be on their toes and have to take, I
yeah.
don't even know how you take precautions. You have to videotape everything. What do
I
you
don't know.
do?
You didn't sign something before you entered the room or
Right.
something. Like you did consent to this, correct? I
I
mean,
think,
cause I mean, not like I say, I don't want to pick any sides either, but I see a lot going on in this, in the industry for a lot of years, and it's just I don't know, man. That's
yeah.
kind of hard for me to believe myself, but yeah, we're gonna see when it all comes out.
Yeah, I mean, if he is innocent, I think there's some lawsuits on that he should be
Oh,
interested in filing when this is all said and done, if he's found not guilty.
oh, for
Um,
sure. I just hope for
Man,
the best for
hope for the
who's
best.
all involved. You know,
Yeah, because
that's got to be
The Mr. Olympia contests, we want all the best guys there, all of them.
all of them. That's
I
what makes
wanted Sean in there. I wanted Phil in there. I wanted Rami in there.
Rami. I
I
know,
even want Kai Green. I want Kai in that show.
I
I want
know,
every,
man. You know, walking around with all this muscle, and I mean, you gotta. I mean, you only have a certain short time of your life to look like that. You got to take advantage of that time.
yeah, he's no spring chicken.
No, no,
He looks fantastic, but he's no spring chicken. Uh,
exactly.
the other big deal that happened at the Olympia was the classic physique, and I bring this up because you worked extensively and still do with Breon Ansley,
Right,
two-time Olympia champ,
right.
and yeah, this year I thought he had it locked up again. After the judging, he looked damn good. Usually, if you're the Olympia champ and you show up looking at least as good as you did last year, you hold your title. That's just the way
Right.
it's always been that way.
That's always been even from some shows when Lee Haney, Dorian, from Ronnie,
Yeah,
they've all been even a tad off or not exactly how they should look, and they still held their title.
right.
So everyone's become accustomed to that. So it was quite shocking for a lot of us. Bumstead did improve his physique, uh, muscle wise.
Yeah.
Uh, he was probably the top condition. I think the first time I saw him.
Mm,
The year after that, he was off because he had medical issues. We all
right.
get that, but he still only lost by 1 point. So that's going to tell you something for the
Yeah.
next year by winning by 1 point. And he wasn't off. He was on, and he improved a lot of body parts. So I could see what they're saying. Um, I thought Breon improved a lot of different areas. Also, the only discrepancy I see is that he's 6 feet tall. Breon's 5'6".
Yeah.
So what are you gonna say? You're gonna say it's the best physique, or you're gonna say it's the biggest guy in the biggest pose? I don't
Yeah.
know. So what are we looking for? That remains to be seen the next time they go out.
Yeah, because we've been watching this classic division. It's still very new, really, when you think about it. We've
But
been
it
watching.
had a big discrepancy with the height, which is gonna make a different look. It's a total different look from a 6 feet tall guy and the guy that's 5'6". I'm gonna always look like I'm bigger, so it's gonna be the best classic look, or is it the best muscle, or the best shape? Is the best muscle insertions? Is the best posing? Is the posing gonna be that strong to where
Mm,
it's like, okay, he missed that shot, and now we're gonna dock him really harshly, or whatever?
well,
What is it?
Breon's a hell of a poser, so I don't think it was posing.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, yeah. So we'll see how that shakes out.
yeah, because what we were hearing was after the Arnold Classic, when George Peterson beat Steve Laureus, there was a huge controversy because George looks more like a bodybuilder. He's got a beautiful physique, but Steve Laureus, he looks like a friggin' trophy with the little tiny. that's when you think about classic physique, I think of a
That
physique like
guy,
that.
that guy looks like a trophy for sure. I mean, I don't know, man. That don't come around very often in a generational time. So I just
So
hope he takes that very seriously and understand that you got a short window to work out of, and got to come in peeled, got to come in right, you got to work on that posing. A lot of people I see when they pose, they're hitting the pose because they see someone done it before and they want to mimic it, but they're not actually utilizing their body. You got to shift your weight more percentage on one foot than the other, have your body aligned right, and have the best, the most aesthetically pleasing pose hit in the right manner. A lot of people not hitting it in the right manner, not in the right way.
yeah. So aside from growing 6 inches in height, what can Breon do to get that title back?
I just think you need to come in looking like you're bleeding. You have to be so crisp that the stitches are gonna come loose and you're gonna start bleeding up there. That's how you got to do it.
Fair enough.
You can't leave no stone unturned.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some other things you got going on. Because aside from this documentary, aside from coaching, and by the way, if you guys are interested in his coaching services, training services, contact him at therealdealcormier@gmail.com. Therealdealcormier@gmail.com. But you have a lot of other things going on. You have some muscle camps or training camps coming up in the spring. What's going on?
Yes, I have one coming up. Actually, going to start next week with Sergio Olivier Jr. Uh,
Ah,
uh, and he, you know, I've been involved with him at different times of his life. We picked it up, put it down, once or twice before, but I'm going to locate myself out there in San Diego. I'll be working exclusively with him, and I will take on some other people that come down there, but I will be out there in San Diego
hmm,
for most of this time from now to the Arnold Classic.
hmm.
So it's going to be Camp Cormier, San Diego. If you want to come and train, I'll have different slots available for people. Other than that, I'm going to have most of my focus on Sergio. I'm
Wow.
hoping we're going to be doing a lot of posing, a lot of training. He's still working with Chris Aceto,
Yeah.
but uh, you know, if you go in the war, you want to have a person like me in your corner, so in your foxhole.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be the best he's gonna ever look in his life. I guarantee you that.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
Good. Good.
And
I mean,
also, I have one coming up in Kuwait after the Arnold Classic, Australia, which is 2 weeks after the March um, the
oh,
March Ohio competition. I'll
yeah.
be in Australia. We're gonna go there and compete there. And then once I return from there, um, I'm gonna go back to Kuwait, March 27th. They have the Kuwait Classic, which Vader Budai is putting on. I think the first week of April.
Yeah.
So the campers, I'm gonna only take 10 guys for that camp from around the world, and uh, we all gonna go to the competition together. The Kuwait Classic there,
Hmm.
and then as a field trip type of thing. That's all included. That's all included with the camp. And we're going to train for 3 weeks. Minimum of 2 weeks is what I like to do. I like to make a difference in someone's physique and also spend that time teaching and tutoring and mentoring these guys, helping them understand how to become a better bodybuilder, how to improve these weak body parts, how to, master the posing. Like everyone that goes there, they really understand what posing is all about because we pose every day right after training. We have some meals times together. We go to movies together out there. We got a crazy mall out there that I've never even seen the whole thing yet because it's so big. I've been out there many times, but I've never seen the whole mall. Yeah, I get too tired, and it's time to shut it down.
They don't have golf carts take you from one end to the other, no?
No, man, I wish they did, but it's people do cardio in this gym. Put it that way.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
you've been part of that
and in the
Oxygen
mall.
Gym crew. You've been part of that whole scene for a very long time. How did
Yeah.
you first get connected with Bader Budai and Oxygen Gym?
Well, uh, I wanted to go there from even from back in the day when people were going there. I didn't get a chance to go, but I just bumped into him at the Arnold Classic and say, "Hey, we took a photo together." I said, "Hey, man, I wanna talk to you about coming out there and doing something, doing uh, a training camp or some type of seminar or something like that." He said, "Well, why don't you come with us to dinner tonight? Let's talk about it." So I met him. I met him in Rami and in the lobby there at the Hyatt. We started talking there, went to dinner. Uh, we just He's telling me I was one of his favorite bodybuilders, or his favorite bodybuilder,
Wow.
and it was like, we just hit it out. We laugh and we have a lot of good conversation outside of bodybuilding. Some stuff just business, some stuff about just different topics of life.
Hmm.
Got really close like that, and he yeah, he's been we've been you know on really good terms ever since. So having all respect to this guy. He's done a lot for the sport and for the competitors, and he's been like the second coming of Joe Weider out there in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Very, very accurate.
Yeah.
You also are putting on a contest May 30th in Wisconsin, the Chris Cormier Classic.
Yes, this is going to be the second annual Chris Cormier Classic. I plan to go out there and get some free posing and training seminar stuff going on out there. I think we're gonna do that in late April when I have the late April before they compete. So I'll get some personal free instruction and help from me uh, getting ready for the show. May 30th is a competition. I look for everyone to try to come in shape. We're gonna have a great time. And I like last year. It was like it was the first one, and it was like just giving back on a different level for me. For the first time was an awesome feeling, and to see all the athletes enjoy themselves, and no one was like upset about their placing. It was really cool to see that everyone was there to help each other, have a good time, and also compete for the title.
Oh, so how'd you end up getting associated with promoting an event in Wisconsin of all
Uh,
places?
well, I was been close friends with Stacy and Kevin Tomasini
Okay.
for a number of years, and they have maybe 3 or 4 shows out there.
Yeah.
One of the shows was going to not they were not going to have it anymore, so it's like I had a shot to try to overtake that show and make it my own.
Hmm.
Put in my input. We're going to have Kevin Lebroni as the title sponsor
Oh, wow.
this year, which is going to be awesome to have Kevin out there for the show. And trying to nail down these guest posers. I'm old school. I still like to bring in guest posers for the show
Hmm.
to see people to. I think it's important for me because I think not only for the people who are professionals and they're still looking for work or stuff like that, this gives open opportunity for the competitors to talk to these guys face to face, and you know when they're trying to build their dreams and what they see, what they want to do in their life, they can see it firsthand by seeing some of their favorite competitors right there. And we
Yeah.
have it's a good situation out there. I think uh, some of the uh, some of the gyms that's sponsoring the show and some of the people who sponsor the show, they all make a big hand, and if anyone want to sponsor it, get in touch with me out there, and we'll get you on board with the Chris Cormier Classic C3.
Yeah. Okay. So let's give out some contact info. You have three, count them, three Instagrams. We got underscore Chris Cormier. We
That's
got
the main one,
underscore small c 3TV, which is
right?
Chris Cormier TV. It's a YouTube channel too, right?
Yes, YouTube
Chris
channel.
Cormier TV on YouTube. Easy
Yeah,
enough to find. And then the movie has its own Instagram at Chris Cormier Movie. Also has its own website, www.chriscormiermovie.com. And again,
correct.
serious inquiries only, business inquiries only to his email, therealdealcormier@gmail.com. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, did you
Yeah.
think when you were a teenager starting out competing that at over 50 years old you would still be this involved in the sport and the industry?
No, I think actually I thought I was looking for that 40 mark to hit because back in the day, when 40 hits, that's when the body started to change, and usually not for the better. unless you're Dexter Jackson. And you know, so I was banking on finishing up around the age of 40, 42, 43, something like that. And that being it, I thought I was just going to eat myself into a coma and just float on through life, you know. But yeah, because I've been before bodybuilding, I was wrestling. I actually wrestled, had a scholarship to Cal State Bakersfield, so I was wrestling pretty tough, man. I was so I've been at a dieting type of sport from 14, 15 years old all the way up until I was 40. So I was ready to eat some food, you know. And I'm just like, even still today, man, it's like whenever I get a chance to have a good meal, I'm probably going to take that chance because I need to eat. You know, it's just been something, been strong part of my life has been food.
Yeah, well,
So,
you know, you never got fat. I never saw you overweight all these years. So
right.
at least you have some discipline about it. If you have your cheat meals when you can have them, and you know not to
Yeah, yeah,
overdo
for
things.
sure,
Clearly,
for sure.
cool. Well, Chris, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. I definitely want to check that movie out. It looks like it looks very very interesting. Not your typical meathead movie
Right.
that I've seen.
I'm gonna send you a link so you can check it out. You
Awesome,
guys,
man.
tell me what you think.
All right, so everybody, please check out the movie at chriscormiermovie.com. That's where you can download it, audio, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever your
And it's on
preference is.
Prime Amazon right now. You can click in Chris, and it's gonna pop up right between Chris Rock's movies and all that stuff. So
Oh wow,
you
okay,
can see it. It's awesome. Awesome.
that's right. You can get everything on Amazon. I forgot about that.
Amazon.
Yeah,
Everything is on Amazon.
cool. Well, thank you, Chris. The real deal. Always good talking to you.
Thank you
Uh,
so much. Thanks, Ron. I'll talk to you
cool.
soon, brother.
And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.